São Paulo, encontro internacional hoje. Eu acho que tá ao vivo, hein? E aí, pessoal, beleza? Vocês estão no canal Rolê no Espaço, eu sou o Bruno Albino e hoje a gente vai acompanhar o lançamento aí do SLS entre a missão Artemis 2, que é o primeiro passo do homem à Lua, né? Então, hoje eles vão lançado, então tem um trajeto que eles vão dar uma volta na Lua e retornar para a Terra. Então, nessa missão eles vão testar alguns equipamentos e vão testar também a cápsula Orion. A gente vai acompanhar tudo de pertinho. E tá próximo aí já, tá em hold, tá parada. O contador parou em 10 minutos. Vamos aguardar. Enquanto isso eu vou fazendo uns ajustes aqui, porque a gente está trocando a roda do carro com o carro em movimento. Do SLS entre a missão Artemis 2, que é o primeiro passo do homem à Lua, né? Então, hoje eles vão lançado, então tem um trajeto que eles vão dar uma volta na Lua e retornar para a Terra. Então, nessa missão eles vão testar alguns equipamentos e vão testar também a cápsula Orion. A gente vai acompanhar tudo de pertinho. E tá próximo aí já, tá em hold, tá parada. O contador parou em 10 minutos. Vamos aguardar. Enquanto isso eu vou fazendo uns ajustes aqui, porque a gente está trocando a roda do carro com o carro em movimento. Do SLS entre a missão Artemis 2, que é o primeiro passo do homem à Lua, né? Então, hoje eles vão é lançado, então tem um trajeto que eles vão dar uma volta na Lua e retornar para a Terra. Então nessa missão eles vão testar alguns equipamentos e vão testar também a cápsula Orion. A gente vai acompanhar tudo de pertinho. E tá próximo aí já, tá em hold, tá parada. O computador parou em 10 minutos. Vamos aguardar. Enquanto isso eu vou fazendo uns ajustes aqui, porque a gente está trocando a roda do carro com o carro em movimento.
Copy that. I'll put it in work. CDR entity.
Go.
Your risers and initiate short purge per your EPROC 10.1.1, steps 8 and 9.
10.1.1, 8 and 9 going to work.
Copy. CVSE entity. Start and verify recordings of our Orion cameras.
Copy.
Okay. Well, there you heard it.
RSR entity.
RSR.
They're getting ready to start terminal count.
AR rotation enable at this time, please.
It's currently at T-minus 10 minutes.
Entity.
Once we wrap up
Start and verify
this last
recordings
bit
of
of
our
work.
Orion cameras.
Rotation enable complete.
Okay, we're going to start
Well,
that
there you
clock.
heard it. Yeah, thank you. RSR entity.
RSR.
They're getting ready to start terminal count.
AR rotation enable at this time, please.
It's currently at T-minus 10 minutes. You heard an issue, worked in real time with telemetry lock on the Orion. It was transitory, it was very short. They checked the data, confirmed that they had a good lock. This was with the S-band transmitter on the Orion. Worked through that issue, looked at the data, and cleared it. All with the world watching. Impressive work by the launch team. So we have a 2-hour window which starts in just a few minutes at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time and goes until 8:24 p.m. Eastern Time.
And ECL entity will be waiting for your verification on the short purge.
ECL copies.
And for all personnel, once we get that short purge verification, we'll verify that we are clear to go, and then we'll proceed with the terminal count. ECL time estimate?
About a minute.
Copy.
So we're going into the launch window, but not by much, it looks like. Just wrapping up some final work. And one to go ahead and start the clock. The ground launch sequencer is an application software. It runs on top of the launch control system in the firing room. Acts like a conductor of an orchestra, executing hundreds of commands in precise order and timing. It's all autonomous.
Entity CCL 212, short purge initiation is verified.
All right, copy that, and we're verifying our constraints.
Isso aí, eu acho que agora tá tudo ajustadinho aqui, aos poucos a gente vai melhorando. Então pessoal, esse lançamento ele estava sendo feito lá no centro espacial Kennedy Space Center. Ele fica ali na Flórida, então já é um centro de lançamento muito conhecido aí por todo mundo, né?
You can resume the clock on your mark.
GLS copies. 3, 2, 1, mark. GLS mainline has
E
been
voltou a
initiated.
contagem, hein, pessoal?
T-minus 10 minutes and
Então já
counting.
faz aí mais de 50 anos que o homem pisou na última vez a Lua. Então existe uma
And
expectativa
that begins
muito
terminal
grande em
count.
cima
Our new T0 is
dessa nova
6:35
missão, né, da
p.m. Eastern
Artemis,
time.
seja da 2, 3 ou
6:35
4,
p.m.
5, porque
Eastern
é o retorno
time.
do homem à
We
Lua.
are now counting down
Então,
to
com o
lift off
objetivo
of
de
Artemis 2.
se estabelecer na Lua, não só de ir lá visitar, coletar dados, informações, mas
From
sim
now on,
se
you're going to hear
estabelecer
two voices
e
on the
criar
loops.
uma base
If everything goes
para
nominally,
conseguir um
NASA
impulso
Test
para
Director
chegar
Jeff Spalding, who's
até Marte e
directly
outras
managing the
missões
launch
também.
team,
Então,
and Alex
Lua, por
Bandelas,
conta
the GLS operator who closely
da sua
monitors the
atmosfera,
software.
quer dizer, por conta
He has the
da não
ability to stop and
atmosfera, né?
restart
Ela
the
seria
countdown.
uma base ali seria bem mais fácil para lançar um foguete. Então, por conta do
A lot of
gasto
people
e
ask
tudo
about
mais,
whether
então
there's
a
a
Lua
launch
hoje em
button.
dia
There
ela
certainly is not.
Flight
está
and rock.
muito
Our new T0
em
is
pauta,
22,
tanto nos
35,
Estados Unidos
12.
como na China,
Houston flight copies.
entre outros países aí,
22,
estão
35, 12.
gerando várias
There you heard confirmation of
missões
the
aí
exact
com o retorno à
T0,
Lua.
6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Again, our T0 is 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m.
E
Eastern
lembrando,
time.
pessoal, nesse daqui,
But as I was saying,
ele vai
there's
dar
no
uma
launch
volta na
button.
Lua, ele
This
vai
is
testar os
autonomous.
equipamentos.
But there is a button that keeps you from launching,
Não
and that
vão
button
pousar na
allows the
Lua ainda,
GLS
então o
operator
pouso para a
to
Lua está
pause the
previsto para
countdown
Artemis,
outside of terminal count and during terminal count
Artemis
and
4,
submit a hold to the
bem
next
depois de
holding point. So
2028,
the clock
porque
won't
ia
stop
ser
right away. If
Artemis
there's an
3.
issue,
Só
we'll
que
go to the
a
next
Artemis 3
stable
ela foi
holding point.
remodelada, então vamos
This is
testar
how
algumas coisas
GLS
aqui na atmosfera
configures the
mesmo,
rocket and ground
atmosfera
systems to a
na
stable
órbita da
point where
Terra,
they can
vamos
stop
testar a
the
cápsula e
countdown
tudo mais.
if that's needed.
E
But
aí a
right
NASA
now,
decidiu
we are
tomar
counting
essa
down.
atitude que, com um
Our
pouco
next
mais de
big
segurança, um
milestone
pouco
looking
mais de
to
cautela,
retract the crew
para
access
evitar
arm.
problemas. Então foi adiado aí o retorno, o piso,
GLS
né,
go
o
for
pouso
crew
lunar
access arm
para
retract.
Artemis 4. E você
And
vai
there
acompanhar
you
tudo
see
aqui
the
no
crew
Rolê no
access
Espaço, hein?
arm moving away.
Tanto aqui no YouTube, no Insta e lá no nosso site também, www.rolenoespaço.com.br.
That's the path that the astronauts took to ingress into the rocket.
Então eu tenho alguns braços aí da plataforma que estão sendo liberados do foguete.
Until this point, that was their way off the pad
Essa
if they
aí
needed to
foi a
evacuate.
plataforma onde os astronautas
But now with that arm
entraram na
retracting,
cápsula.
the backup transitions to a launch abort system. And they'll begin arming that shortly. Of course, the launch abort system, great shot there of the crew access arm retracting away. The launch abort system is the tower at the top, and that's what would pull Orion and its crew off the top of the rocket in case of an emergency, whether it's on the ground or in
Esse é o
flight.
foguete SLS. Para quem
This
curte
is critical safety
ônibus
hardware.
espacial, ele lembra
that
muito
protects the
um ônibus
lives
espacial por conta
of
das
the
cores, né?
astronauts.
Mas é totalmente diferente esses os tanques de combustíveis na lateral. Então é tudo um foguetão aí, um dos mais fortes da NASA. Ele foi remodelado,
Starting at T-minus 6
passou
minutes,
por várias
the
modificações
GLS
desde a
will start
primeira.
bringing that and other high
Tem
energy
algumas
systems
coisas a
online,
serem
starting with
testadas
core
também.
stage pressurization.
Então tem tudo para ser um bom lançamento. Então a gente tem 4 pessoas aí dentro da Orion, né? Eu tenho aqui que o pessoal é a Cristina, o Jeremy, o Victor Glover e o Handman. Reid Weissman. Eu sou muito ruim em inglês. No caso da Cristina, é a
Whether it's
primeira mulher aí
90%
tão
go,
longe,
The range is
né?
go,
Então, nessas missões.
all systems are go.
O Jeremy, ele é o primeiro canadense. Aí na
GLS is go for core stage tank pressurization.
tá tentando escutar aqui o que eles estavam
That means the
falando.
replenish valve for the liquid
Mas
hydrogen
então,
tank
voltando
has
aqui,
now closed,
o Jeremy, ele
and
é o
that
primeiro
tank is
canadense
beginning to
indo pra Lua.
pressurize to
Então,
flight
os
levels
americanos e um
because that
canadense aí.
hydrogen is
Muito
naturally
bacana mesmo.
boiling inside the tank.
Aqui na ponta aquela pontinha ali mais fina é a
We'll get
cápsula
the
Orion,
liquid oxygen
onde
tank
estão
a
os
little later in the
astronautas.
count.
É onde eles vão viajar. Então o foguete
Now the team is
atinge
waiting
até
for verification
certo
that, if
ponto, vai
needed,
se separando,
the Artemis
depois
2
a
crew
cápsula
could
segue
use the
seu
launch
rumo
abort
até a
system to
Lua lá.
pull Orion safely off the top of the
Vamos
rocket
ver se eu acho
in an
vídeo aqui pra
emergency.
colocar para vocês.
Let's
O
listen in for that
trajeto
call.
que a cápsula vai fazer.
GLS verifies
Como é a primeira
last
live,
capability
pessoal, já
available.
vou até pedir desculpa aí se eu tô travando. Às vezes eu acho que o vídeo lá na internet não deve dar nem tá tão bom, deve estar travando também, mas
That's
acho que
great
eu não
news, and you
configurei o
heard the
OBS aqui
NTD verify that with the
da
commander.
maneira que deveria
of the mission.
configurar.
GLS is
Mas a
go for
gente segue
FTS arm.
de um jeito ou de
Now
outro.
work is
Tinha
being
que
done to
começar
arm the
essas
flight
lives aqui no
termination
canal.
system. This is so the range safety can send a flight termination command if the rocket flies too far off track. There's a brief built-in delay, so the launch abort system has time to pull the astronauts
GLS
to
is
safety
go for
first.
LH2 high flow bleed check.
All right, the high flow bleed check. That's so the cryo team gets verification that the RS-25 engines, all 4 of them, are in the proper temperature range for launch. Are in the proper temperature range for launch.
GLS is go for core stage APU start.
Core stage APUs start. Those are auxiliary power units. High-speed turbines which provide pressure to hydraulic
minutinhos
pumps
quase, hein, galera?
that steer
Falta
the
pouco.
RS-25 engines. We're going to see a gimbal test a little later at T-minus 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This is what allows that to happen. Coming up in about 20 seconds, we're listening for go for purge sequence 4. That's a helium purge of the 4 core stage engines,
Enquanto eu vou
core stage
procurando aqui,
engines downstream
então
of the
só
propellant
reforçando.
valve. This gets all the air and moisture out of there.
Esse grande motivo, um dos grandes motivos, né?
Depois de mais de
retornar à
50
Lua,
anos.
Depois de tanto tempo, muita gente especula, mas por que depois de tanto tempo o homem quer voltar à Lua?
GLS is go for purge sequence 4.
Então, um dos motivos é justamente essa
Moving
base
through the
lunar, né?
milestones.
Então, tem
All is looking
a
good.
expectativa da exploração da Lua, né? A mineração da Lua.
Coming up
Então,
in just a few seconds, we're going to get that thrust vector
é o
control
retorno do ser
actuator
humano
test.
à Lua,
This is a
mas
gimbling of
assim,
the engines.
é um retorno para ficar, né? A gente foi lá algumas vezes, então os Apollo 11 e diante a gente
There are the 4 RS-25s.
foi lá só
3 of
para
them,
pesquisar, trazer aí,
Shuttle Heritage.
para trazer
One of them built
recursos,
from
mas agora não.
Shuttle
Agora é
parts.
ir, montar uma base e
And there you
se
see them
propagar
moving.
com essa uma raça intergaláctica, né? Criar uma base, criar uma população ali na Lua, uma base de apoio para
Now we're going to
missões
start moving the power
espaciais.
from both the upper stage and the lower stage of the rocket to internal, taking ground power away and now going to battery power.
GLS is go for upper stage to internal power.
Vou colocar aqui no vídeo para vocês rapidinho, só para vocês
Our
darem uma
power is
olhada
removed from the rocket's upper
qual que
stage,
seria o
the
trajeto.
ICPS, and it's been switched to battery. Same milestone for the lower
Ó,
core
vou passar aqui
stage
para
coming up
vocês.
at T-minus 1
Esse é o
minute and 30
trajeto
seconds.
que a Orion vai
Right
fazer.
now,
Então já
The
saiu ali,
4-person
orbitou a
Artemis 2
Terra,
crew is
vai ser por volta de uns 10 dias essa
248,000
missão, se eu não me
miles
engano.
away from the moon.
E aí
And
vai
if
lá na
all
Lua,
goes well,
dá uma volta
they will
e
fly
retorna
by it
para a
in
Terra.
6
O
days.
retorno ele é feito só a cápsula mesmo, né? Então a cápsula ó,
GLS
vem
is go for core stage to internal power.
e tem o splashdown,
Alright, there's the
então
rocket's
ela
core
vem e cai
stage.
no mar.
Which houses 3 flight computers,
É
is
mais
now
um
on
teste,
its
é um
own
voo
power.
de teste mesmo. E pessoal,
There's no
no Rolê no Espaço a
hold
gente está
time
sempre,
because there's no more
sempre
margin on
colocando
these
vídeo
batteries.
novo, tanto
So
no
we have to
Insta
recycle back to
como aqui no
T-10
YouTube a gente
to
retomou
recharge
também,
if we had a
então
hold.
tá sempre atualizando. Agora a gente está vendo com alguns novos conteúdos também de astronomia,
1
telescópio.
minute.
Fiquem à vontade aí para se inscrever
Right
no
now the
canal e
rocket does
dar
not know
aquela
what the
força.
T0 is, but coming
Prometo
up
para
at
vocês que eu
T-minus
vou melhorar a
33 seconds,
qualidade.
control shifts from the
Pode
ground
deixar,
launch
vou parar de
sequencer
ficar
to the
falando
rocket's
travando.
onboard
Mas é
autonomous
isso aí,
launch
galera. Depois de
sequencer,
50
or ALS.
anos,
The
falta
rocket will count itself
45
down,
segundos para a
but
gente
honor any
conseguir
holds that could come from the ground.
dar o start nessa missão aí que
Now,
vai
shortly
marcar
after
o retorno
liftoff,
do homem à
Houston
Lua.
will take
É
control of
sensacional
the
isso.
rocket, and my colleague Gary Jordan will take over
Não
commentary.
tive idade para acompanhar a Apollo 11, mas estamos
Great
aqui
call
em
out.
Artemis,
The
né?
rocket is on its own. 4
Eu que
brave
sou um daqueles
explorers
caras que
ready
defende
to
aquele
ride the
termo,
most powerful
nasci
rocket
cedo demais, não, nasci tarde demais para
NASA
explorar
has
os mares
ever launched.
e cedo demais para explorar o universo.
Sound suppression water is flowing.
Então, meu, esse tipo de missão aqui é
And here we
sensacional.
go.
E vou trazer mais, hein?
10,
Lançamento de foguete
9, 8,
e
7.
Isso aí, ó.
RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3,
2, 1, lançou.
Booster ignition. And lift
Partiu e foi
The
SLS.
crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon.
Lá vai ele,
Humanity's
rasgando
next
o céu da
great voyage
Flórida, hein?
begins.
A missão da NASA. As imagens da NASA sensacionais. Olha lá o SLS. É um dos maiores foguetes do mundo. É um monstro igual o Saturno, que levou o homem à Lua com o Apollo. Olha isso. Torcendo para tudo dar certo.
Integrity, AMT high.
É uma força monstruosa, hein, pessoal? Lá vai indo, tá indo bem, hein? Acho que a NASA vai colocar um pouquinho da telemetria também pra gente dar uma olhada. Mas, pelo que parece, tá indo tudo bem.
3 miles in altitude, traveling more than 1,200 miles per hour.
Olha isso. Os americanos que moram... Tem até brasileiro que tá lá, né? O Sargento tá lá, o pessoal do Palota tá lá. Tem muita gente acompanhando o lançamento de lá. Então, pô, o pessoal que consegue ver isso de perto é sensacional. Na internet a gente já fica emocionado já. Olha isso.
Mission elapsed time, passing 1 minute, approaching max Q.
Max Q, agora é o momento de pressão.
Stan, we have you loud and clear on Ponce de Leon.
Have you the same?
Communication signal transfer confirmed as Integrity and its crew go supersonic. Approaching 90 seconds into the Artemis 2 mission. Integrity is 14
Ele acaba
miles in
dando essa
altitude,
curva,
8 miles
pessoal, porque
downrange,
ele
traveling
precisa
more
fazer a
than
curvatura
2,600
da
miles
Terra, né?
per
Ele não
hour.
consegue disparar em uma linha reta, sair da Terra e ir direto pro espaço. Ele precisa pegar a curvatura da Terra. É física. Eu não sou o melhor para explicar, mas é simplesmente simples isso, né? Não é tão simples, mas é o que acontece.
1 minute 50 seconds of mission elapsed time, standing by for main engine throttle down to 85%, ahead of solid rocket booster separation, expected at the 2 minute 9 second mark. We see throttle down.
Todo mundo muito apreensivo, né? Porque faz muito tempo que não tem um lançamento
Confirmed
desse.
separation.
Uma missão
Main
dessa
engines throttling
magnitude.
up,
Ó,
guidance
os
confirmed.
dois tem que se separaram ali, os dois boosters. Creio que eu tenho falado o nome certo.
Integrity, guidance converged,
Olha
performance
só essa
nominal, upper
imagem.
stage RCS ready.
Já saiu da atmosfera, já
Copy
tá
all, Stan.
incrível.
Integrity, SM priming complete.
SM priming
Lembrando que é
complete.
um dos foguetes mais poderosos já feitos pela NASA. É
2 minutes
literalmente um
45
monstro
seconds of
levando
mission
o homem
elapsed time into the
à Lua.
Artemis 2 mission. Thrusters on Integrity and upper
E é
stage
muito bom
confirmed in a ready
presenciar
state,
isso. É
ahead of service
sensacional.
module fairing separation. Three minutes into the flight, Integrity 49 miles in altitude, 78 miles
Teve o
downrange.
lançamento, né? Agora é a
Now passing
órbita e a
5,000
aceleração.
miles per hour.
A separação. As imagens da NASA tá dando uma falhada.
Standing by for launch abort
Faz
system
parte.
jettison.
Houston Integrity, good last
O
Genesis.
incrível,
great
galera, é
view.
que esse não é mais um capítulo sobre a Lua. É
Copy,
o próximo
Jettison.
capítulo da
Kilo
humanidade.
8
Isso
plus
aqui é
02.
incrível. Ó, muita gente acompanhando.
We see the same on board, Stan.
And Houston has you loud and clear on TUDO at the Carmen line.
Outstanding, Stan. We have you the same.
3 minutes 50 seconds into the flight of Artemis 2, Wiseman, Glover, Cook, and Hansen cross the boundary to space with good comm checks. GPS signals acquired after last jettison now working on internal checks to verify accuracy. Flight Dynamics Officer analyzed the time of main engine cutoff, confirmed at 8 minutes 2 seconds, time of MECO.
Tirando esses cortes aí, erro, sinal, essas coisas, né, mas
Integrity,
meu,
GPS
deve ser
processing.
incrível poder olhar a Lua, olhar a Terra nessa perspectiva, né?
Outstanding,
Caramba.
Stan. We see the same, and we have a beautiful moonrise. We're headed right.
Approaching 5 minutes into the flight, Commander Reed Wiseman confirms he has visuals of his destination. GPS guidance, navigation, and control software finishes internal checks and sends to navigation channels.
Pelo que eu entendi aqui, o sistema de navegação da
Integrity, 3 engine press.
3 engine press.
On time, now passing 5 minutes 20 seconds of mission elapsed time into the Artemis 2 mission. At this point, 3 good main engines are all that's needed to carry Integrity to a nominal main engine cutoff
O
target.
americano faz uma
Though at
festa
this time, we're
incrível,
seeing
né?
4 good engines here in Mission Control
É
Houston.
estilo brasileiro quando é Copa do
Integrity,
Mundo, né?
75 miles in altitude, 330 miles downrange, approaching 10,000 miles per hour.
Estamos aí com 6 minutos de lançamento e... tudo certinho.
Integrity, looking good at 6 minutes.
Opa, foi
Same
mal,
on
pessoal.
board, Stan.
Good trajectory and engine performance. Booster officer will soon report the shutdown plan to Flight Director Judd Friedling, expected at the 7-minute mark. Integrity, 78 miles in altitude, 460 miles downrange.
Integrity.
Pera aí.
Altitude,
Aí,
460 miles downrange.
telemetria,
Integrity,
então ele
expect
está
nominal
a
shutdown.
11.000 km por hora.
Integrity copies nominal shutdown.
É o rastro de fumaça que deixa, né? Um foguete.
6 minutes 40 seconds of mission elapsed time. Shutdown plan is as expected. Again, the time of MECO was confirmed at 8 minutes 2 seconds into the flight. Seven minutes of mission elapsed time. Throttling down as we approach the abort once around option. Milestone at the 7-minute 30-second mark. Now 84 miles in altitude, 650 miles downrange, traveling more than 15,000 miles per hour.
Boa.
Integrity, AOA open.
Pelo que eu entendi aqui, tá tudo ok, né? A integridade
AOA
dele.
open.
The window is now open for an abort once around option that would target splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. Still following nominal ascent at this time. About 10 seconds remaining until the main engine cutoff of the Space Launch System core stage.
16.000 km por hora é a
Standing by for
velocidade
confirmation
dele.
of MECO and core stage separation.
Tá no ponto de separação. A separação, olha só. E lá vai mais um. Olha que bonito.
Integrity, nominal MECO, core stage separated.
Separação do estágio já foi feita.
We see the same on board, Stan.
Aí, ó, a telemetria da NASA é muito boa que a gente consegue acompanhar. Ó.
8 minutes 40 seconds
Então,
into the flight, we have a nominal main engine cutoff
já vai
heading
ser
in
só
the
Orion
right
só.
trajectory on the way to swing around the moon.
Então,
Core stage
maior
has
parte do
separated, done
foguete
its job. The Space Launch System upper
acaba
stage, the inner rim
desacoplando, né?
cryogenic propulsion stage, or ICPS, still attached to the
Lembrando que a
Orion
Orion,
spacecraft.
só essa cápsula aí, a ponta aí, só essa parte aí que vocês estão vendo agora,
9
pode
minutes of
atingir
mission
quase
elapsed
40.000
time. Integrity
km
crew
por
of
hora.
Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen now in orbit around the Earth at the beginning of their journey to the moon.
Integrity Houston, looking ahead to PRM numbers so far per the pad.
Copy that, Stan. Numbers for the pad.
Capcom Stan Loves now reminding the crew that the perigee raise maneuver time of ignition is as expected prior to booster ignition That time being 49 minutes, 50 seconds of mission elapsed time.
Deixa eu ver aqui. Então é isso, pessoal. Basicamente o gigantão já foi descartado. Agora é só a cápsula só. Aí agora é só a cápsula e rumo à Lua, né? Eu ainda não tive a oportunidade de fazer um vídeo detalhado sobre a cápsula, mas essa cápsula aí ela atende assim 100% os astronautas. Ela tem até banheiro. É incrível, né?
Integrity, good. Neds deploy.
Copy that, Stan. Good, Neds.
And Integrity Houston for PWD setup. Just a
Aí
reminder,
agora,
halfway
os
open on the
próximos passos
secondary.
ali, pelo que está mostrando aqui na telemetria, são a abertura dos painéis solares e o ajuste para a trajetória. Os painéis solares são aquelas zonas bem pretas ali, ó, tá vendo? Não sei se vai colocar o mouse aqui para vocês, mas
Passing
aqui são
11
os
minutes of
painéis
mission
solares.
elapsed time. Here, overhearing the conversation between Capcom Stan Love and Commander Reed
Aí é uma
Wiseman.
parte mais
Already passing
silenciosa,
some
né?
milestones. We
Até
have a
a-
good nozzle extension
até a Lua.
deployment system. That is confirmed. Complete. We also have the visors are confirmed up. Now past the dynamic phase of flight, that is ascent. Their launch and entry suits that provided them an extra layer of protection. Now not as needed. They're going to raise those visors. And later in today's mission, they will begin to egress or get out of the suits to
E
begin
eles já
some
estão
of
quase
their
200
initial
quilômetros
tasks
da
of
Terra. Só
activating
que
some of
mesmo
the
assim
systems
ainda
aboard in the Integrity
a
spacecraft.
velocidade essa velocidade ainda ela não é o
Passing 12 minutes
suficiente
of mission elapsed time. Again, the perigee
para sair
raise
da órbita.
maneuver
Então,
that's targeted near 50
para ele
minutes
sair
of
da
mission
órbita,
elapsed
se eu
time,
não me
49
engano,
minutes 50 seconds. That's what the crew is
esqueci
going
agora,
to be
são acho que
working towards.
30.
The Commander Reed Wiseman pilot Victor Glover will focus on preparing for that milestone.
Só ver aqui. Pera aí, eu sempre esqueço esses dados, sou muito ruim de cabeça.
In the meantime, mission specialist Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen
40 mil
will
quilômetros
start
por hora
some
para
of
sair
the
da órbita da
activation
Terra
of
para conseguir
environmental
escapar
control
por
light
conta
support
da
systems. You
gravidade,
may
né?
hear
Então,
confirmation of their activation
foguete
over
precisa
the Orion to
atingir
Earth
caso a
communication
cápsula
network.
agora, né? Que é o limite que ela consegue atingir.
Houston,
Que
C3
é
aux power back in
a
auto.
velocidade
Copy
correta para
C3
poder
aux,
escapar
and
da
we're
órbita da
2
Terra.
minutes to maneuver.
Porque se não tiver essa velocidade não escapa, vai ficar dando volta na Terra, dando volta aí.
"13 minutes and 30 seconds of mission elapsed time. We're going to continue to follow the crew of the Artemis 2 mission. They are beginning their journey around the moon to verify the systems that will take us to its surface. An incredible ascent. Artemis 2 is underway. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen begin their journey to the moon. Still milestones to come up as we await solar array deploy and the critical burns that will get Integrity into high Earth orbit around the Earth before engines are fired to get us around the moon. We'll keep tabs on Integrity and its crew from here in Mission Control Houston. But for now, we're going to send it back to you, Megan and Nicole at the Kennedy Space Center. Very jealous to hear how the launch experience was over on the Space Coast.
Yeah, Gary, if people are just joining us, welcome back to the Space Coast where we just saw Artemis 2 lift off 14 minutes ago. And wow, what an amazing launch and an emotional one too. As soon as the rocket lifted off, Nicole, you had tears in your eyes, I had tears in my eyes, and we had all these people around us cheering. It was amazing.
Yeah, the energy was wonderful. I mean, it was a beautiful launch. You know, we've got 4 friends and family members headed to the moon. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, how does that make you feel as someone who, you know, is an astronaut as well, but also, as you said, friends?
Yeah, so just so proud of them. You know, man, we don't have the words in the English language to describe this kind of an event, and pride, love, so many emotions. You know, they are truly breaking some barriers, and hopefully, you know, as Gary just said, they've got a long day ahead of them, so wishing them well on everything, but so far, what a beautiful launch to watch.
Yeah, to be returning to the lunar orbit in more than 50 years. Maybe they go farther from Earth than any other humans before them. Maybe they see parts of the moon that we've never seen before. I mean, what a great start to what could be all of these milestones that we break in just a 10-day mission.
Yes, what a way to welcome in the Artemis generation.
Yeah, how do you feel? I mean, we saw some beautiful shots we were covering of course, the rocket, of course, the Earth falling away as we continued up into our ascent, but also some of those crowd shots where we saw young and old, just emotional, overcome by this history-making moment.
And we are going back to the moon for all, and we saw that today. We saw that in all the crowds. And yeah, you guys just saw that view, the sunrise or sunset, I guess. They just made it over the crest of the Earth, and you could see the sun peeking up. One of my favorite views from space. And I can't imagine what they're looking at now, and I can't wait to see what they're looking at in about 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, and you know, I know a lot of people are like, you know what, I'm surprised this launched on the first try, because we know, like any little thing, we have to be keeping safety in mind, and we want to make sure we're ready to go, but we were ready to go, and I think it surprised a lot of people. What a wonderful surprise on this Wednesday evening.
It did, you know, and it kind of surprised me as well, but you know, it's just a testament to the team here that has been working so hard on Artemis. You know, Artemis 1, we learned a ton of lessons. We learned a ton from the wet dress for Artemis 2. We were able to go in, fix those things. We even had a couple mishaps today, not mishaps, but a couple, you know, anomalies today that the team creatively came up with solutions for. It's just a testament to the teamwork that gets us to the moon.
And so we can continue to watch Christina, Reed, Victor, and Jeremy on their way now to the moon in Earth's orbit and awaiting the next in-flight milestones, deploying Orion's solar arrays. So why don't we get back in with the mission control and Gary.
Hey, thank you, Megan. Again, we're following along in the action. It is a long day. They have a number of procedures they need to get to immediately in their timeline.
And Integrity Houston, cross-tie is on board per the ETSI.
We copy Houston, thank you.
Cross-tie referring to flight controllers here initiating a connection between some of the batteries aboard the Orion spacecraft, allowing for an even distribution of power. This is the flight control teams that took us through ascent of the Artemis 2 mission today. Right now we're, as you see, passing 18 minutes of mission elapsed time. The Orion spacecraft integrity and the interim cryogenic propulsion system are maneuvering tail to sun. It is in this orientation, this attitude.
Integrity anywhere until that momentary prop caution.
And Reed, no action, we're looking at it.
Commander Reed Wiseman verifying what is being routed to his displays aboard integrity. Propulsion engineer confirming that no action is needed at this time. They're pressing through with their nominal procedures to prepare for the perigee raise maneuver, and of course the solar array wing deploy ahead of that. The solar wing deploy is a critical milestone. We'll continue to have our coverage follow the mission until that deployment. A successful launch is just the beginning. The deployment of the solar arrays and successful confirmation that those solar array wings are drawing power is a significant milestone and says to the flight control teams that we'll continue on today's mission. Power needs to be drawn to continue through some of the next milestones. Until then, the AOA open option that was called up upon ascent, the aboard once around, is the current option, and abort to orbit option ATO will be switched to a preferred mode at the time that the solar array wings are deployed and latched. It gives the flight control teams a little bit more flexibility.
Integrity Houston, update on TUDO's handover for your pad.
Pessoal, um vídeo muito legal isso aqui, ó. A galera na ISS acompanhando o lançamento. Deixa eu ver se dá pra colocar o áudio.
Give us just 1 minute.
Godspeed, Artemis 2!
TUDO's handover east to west
Galera na
expected
estação
1
espacial
second
acompanhando o
earlier
lançamento.
at
Isso é
5:1 minutes.
graças à tecnologia, né?
All right, Stan, we copy 1 second earlier for 5126 Teachers East to West, and saws are starting to deploy. Thermal knives are firing.
We concur. Thanks for the report.
Readback of the reports that you just heard on the Orion to Earth network. Integrity has maneuvered tail to sun. The RL-10 nozzle on the end of the ICPS is pointed towards the sun, and the solar array deployment sequence has begun. With the deployment confirmed, it'll be several minutes until they are what is called in a latched position. Once they are latched and confirmed to be drawing power, they can switch the mode to ATO and continue along the mission. The teacher's handover at the pad, that message meant the crew was provided some preliminary numbers of when to expect handovers between the tracking and data relay
Eles estão fazendo
satellites.
alguns ajustes aí
Currently orbiting Earth at an altitude of
garantir que a órbita acabe
545
ficando numa órbita segura,
statute
né?
miles
Então tá
above the Earth.
preparando
They
a
are
nave
in a
pro
near-Earth
próximo passo.
network communication system, the tracking and data relay
Eles estão,
satellites, geosynchronous satellites that are stationed about
como se
23,000
diria,
miles above
queimando
the
o
Earth.
motor.
After
A
the
nave,
apogee
ela
raise
ainda, por
burn
mais que esteja
that
muito
occurs
longe,
later
mas
today,
em consideração à Terra, ela está
the
numa
burn
órbita
itself
muito
will put them
baixa.
in an altitude that
É apenas
surpasses
ajuste
the
fino
range
mesmo.
of the tracking and data relay
Vocês estão
satellites,
vendo esse
and they will
azulzinho aqui
transition
no
to the
fundo,
deep
tá vendo?
space network today.
And integrity for prop messages, we
basicamente
see two
empurrãozinho
temperature measurements
pra nave
right near the
conseguir
line.
subir.
It's that momentary message you saw earlier. We're going to suppress those. It's CM helium heater 2 T1 and heater 1 T1. They're going suppressed.
Integrity, thank you. We see the same.
This is Mission Control Houston, passing 23 minutes of mission elapsed time into the Artemis 2 mission. This is after a launch that began at 5:35 and 12 seconds Central Time, 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Right now, the orientation you're seeing from our aero visualization that translates some of the telemetry that we're getting from the spacecraft and puts it into a model so you can follow along on some of the milestones that we are following here. The RL-10 nozzle that you see at the left end of your screen, though it is currently not firing, that nozzle is pointed towards the sun, and the solar arrays are currently deploying. From this visualization, they look fully stowed in a position.
Integrity, we are happy to report that Jeremy has the O2 sensors on.
Copy O2 sensors.
Again, Commander Reed Wiseman and pilot Victor Glover overseeing the deployment of the solar arrays. And we'll follow the attitude maneuver changes ahead of the first burn of the ICPS engine, the perigee raise maneuver.
Integrity Houston, we see 4 saws deployed and latched, ready for ATO preferred.
Yeah, we're almost there in the procedure stand, and we see the same thing.
And Integrity Houston, we are seeing a 7-second miscompare between the MET on Orion and ICPS. We'd like you to read us the MET from your center status bar and for the ICPS on StackSum.
And Stan, we see a absolutely precise alignment. MET 25, 14, 15, 16, precisely aligned with ICPS MET.
Copy, thank you for that. We'll investigate a ground issue.
And Houston Integrity, ATO preferred set.
Copy, ATO preferred.
Oh, tá tudo certo.
This is Mission Control Houston, 25 minutes, 45 seconds into the flight of Artemis 2. We have confirmation that all 4 solar array wings are deployed and latched. This is the configuration needed to switch to ATO preferred, which you did hear confirmed from pilot Victor Glover. That mode has been switched. There's also a discussion with Capcom Stan Love and Commander Reed Wiseman about the alignment of the MET clocks on the Orion spacecraft and the ICPS. Commander Reed Wiseman confirmed the clocks are in sync, no issues, they're going to investigate it on the ground. We're proceeding with today's mission. 26 minutes of mission elapsed time and counting.
Tentando pegar algumas imagens aqui para mostrar para vocês mais a visão do pessoal que tá lá tirando foto, essas coisas que eu acho bem bacana.
This is Mission Control Houston. We're approaching 28 minutes of mission elapsed time into the Artemis 2 mission. At this point, we've had a successful liftoff from the pad at 5:35 p.m. and 12 seconds p.m. Central Time, 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. We've had a good main engine cutoff, core stage separation, and a good trajectory to begin today's mission. Right now the spacecraft has maneuvered tail to sun. We're standing by for another maneuver to maneuver into the burn attitude. This is where the RL-10 engine of the ICPS is pointed in the correct orientation for the perigee raise maneuver. We did hear confirmation that the perigee raise maneuver time of ignition has been confirmed per the pad, which means it was the predicted time prior to liftoff.
Integrity for GNC, we're taking channel 1 to unfiltered and to BFS.
Ó, pessoal, tava procurando uma imagem aqui, não é bem essa aqui, mas tá... Bom, tranquilo, na próxima eu deixo as artes tudo preparada para mostrar para vocês. Mas ó, esse daqui é o Raid Victor Glover, que é o que vocês mais escutam falar no rádio, que é o piloto, né?
Capcom Stan Love reading up to the crew of Integrity. They will switch the navigation source from channel 1, standing by for confirmation that that switch has occurred.
Então são
essas
quatro pessoas aqui que estão dentro daquela cápsula lá, da cápsula Orion.
And as at least watching to confirm
aqui, bem legal para vocês.
That switch has occurred. Again, in the perigee raise maneuver that we're heading towards. Not too long from now, we're actually inside 20 minutes at this time.
A minha salvação é que eu estou sempre fazendo vídeo pro Rolê no Espaço, então
we did have a successful deployment and launched of all 4 solar array wings.
Dos vídeos estão sempre
This
ali
is the configuration needed to commit
nos vídeos que eu
to
faço
the perigee raise
semanalmente,
maneuver.
Então,
of course, flight controllers here in Mission Control Houston will continue to evaluate that everything is good before committing to that burn. The perigee raise maneuver does raise the perigee, the lowest point in the orbit, from 15 to 100 nautical miles. The 100 nautical mile mark is needed to continue in low Earth orbit and hit the target for the apogee raise burn. That will put them in a high Earth orbit for the remainder of the day and set them up for the right position to execute the translunar injection and head to the moon tomorrow. The burn duration of the perigee raise maneuver is 26 seconds. It's a relatively short burn, but it does raise the perigee and do the job to get into the correct position before firing that main engine on the ICPS. The pad had a teacher's handover. This is the tracking and data relay satellites, east to west. They are geosynchronous satellites that are positioned around the globe. And as Orion makes its way around the Earth right now, above the west coast of Africa, at an altitude of about 923 statute miles, and counting.
Já rumo a Lua mesmo, seria praticamente ela desse jeito aqui, né?
The perigee raise maneuver is not executed at the perigee. It is rather executed on the actually closer to the apogee.
Vou voltar aqui para a transmissão.
But what it does is it raises the perigee at the other end of the orbit to 100 nautical miles. The 26-second duration burn does not conflict with the time that they've reported of the tracking and data relay satellite handover from TGERS east to west. Again, geosynchronous satellites that are used not only by Integrity today, but the International Space Station as well. That time of handover is 51 minutes, 26 seconds. Plenty of margin before the perigee raise maneuver cutoff happens, and the trajectory is analyzed to see whether it was a good burn. A good burn means that the burn was performed as expected and sets the trajectory on course for that 100 nautical mile perigee target mark. Again, for those sticking with us on NASA Plus and following along on our coverage, we will continue to follow and to cover the mission until...
Meu bloco de anotações aqui.
Well, actually, we'll continue to cover the mission 24/7. But we'll wrap up our coverage here shortly. And now that solar array wing deployment has occurred on NASA Plus and Amazon Prime. Again, we will continue coverage 24/7 at the NASA YouTube channel. For those that want to see all of the upcoming milestones, there are select times where we will be coming back to NASA Plus
pessoal,
and other streaming platforms.
O plano seria
You can go to nasa.gov to find the latest on when to find those activities.
Que já foi feito.
Given that this is an
Agora,
operational
o Artemis
mission, we
2 é
do want
onde
to make
eles vão
sure that
testar
we
a
are
cápsula Orion, né, fazer o caminho para a Lua.
maintaining transparency in
O
the
3
mission and providing
inicialmente
you
seria o
all the
pouso lunar,
information
mas aí foi
on what's
adiado
happening in space
e foi
as
reformulado,
Reed
então
Wiseman,
eles vão
Victor Glover,
testar
Christina
a
Cook,
cápsula,
and Jeremy Hansen
sistemas de
head
integração
on their mission
nessa missão para
around the
garantir
moon.
que os astronautas consigam ter mais segurança aí. A NASA, pessoal, vocês vão ver que ela demora muito para lançar um foguete, por quê? Porque ela
Inside
testa
Integrity
muito,
at this
ela
time. Again,
precisa
the
testar
solar array
para
wings
evitar
have
problemas
deployed.
como
The
aconteceram em
Integrity
missões
is
passadas,
maneuvering
onde custaram
to its
vidas.
burn attitude
Então hoje,
ahead
para a
of the
NASA lançar um
execution of the
foguete,
perigee raise maneuver.
é feito o teste em
Overseeing
cima de
these
teste,
steps is primarily done by Commander Reed
de
Wiseman and
novo,
pilot Victor Glover.
até garantir que esteja tudo ok para
Mission
lançar, ainda mais
specialist
em
Christina
lançamentos
Cook and
como
Jeremy
esse,
Hansen
onde
focusing on some
vai
of the
astronauta.
system activation
Eles
inside
têm
of
uma
Orion,
preocupação muito
namely
grande com a vida
the
do ser humano.
environmental and control and life support
Então,
systems.
a
The
missão
activation and
3 era o
checkout of
pouso
some of these
lunar,
critical
aí eles
systems are very
decidiram
important to
que vai ser
continuing
na
on the
missão
mission,
4.
making sure that those
E
systems are
anteriormente,
in a good condition and in a reliable condition to provide
tinha plano da
the
Gateway, que era uma
necessary
plataforma, era
environmental and control
uma estação que ela ia
needs
ficar
of the crew
orbitando a Lua.
with humans on board
Só que aí acabaram
through the
desistindo
duration
dessa ideia
of
também,
the mission that extends 10
até
flight
porque
days.
a questão de orbitar a Lua vai ter algumas condições, alguns problemas, e enfim, estaria muito em
Standing
risco
by for an
a
update to
vida
the
dos
perigee raise maneuver
astronautas
time of
também.
ignition. Should be
E
right up to the
decidiram
crew very
por
shortly.
criar o
Houston,
pool e
updated
para a parte do
PRM
pouso
numbers
lunar,
when
que
you're ready to copy.
vou mostrar aqui para vocês.
All right, Houston, we are ready to copy.
TIG is 2 seconds earlier at 4 9 minutes for 8 seconds. TIGO unchanged at 2 6 seconds.
49, 48, TIGO 26.
This is Mission Control Houston. With that update, we are approaching a little more than 13 minutes from the time of ignition of the perigee raise maneuver. That time updated to be 2 seconds earlier was 49 minutes 50 seconds of mission elapsed time. Will now move to 49 minutes 48 seconds. The duration of the burn, that's what was referred to as the TGO, will still remain at 26 seconds. Relatively short duration burn. Again, just raises the perigee of the orbit today.
Esse era projeto muito caro.
Making sure they hit the mark on that time of ignition is the primary concern of Commander Reed Wiseman and pilot Victor Glover. Mission Specialist Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen inside activating those environmental control and life support systems. At this time, all 4 crew members are wearing the launch and entry suits.
Integrity Houston, for Artemis on the PCD, we have time update instructions when you're ready.
Cadê o ponto? Aqui. Aqui, essa aqui é a Gateway. Então,
And Houston, Integrity,
inicialmente o
copy.
plano era...
Hands are pretty busy at this time. I think we will call you back when we're ready for that.
Ela seria uma base de apoio, né, para o ser humano
2 minutes
lá
to
na
maneuver
Lua.
to PRM
Então,
attitude.
a cápsula ia vir nela, ia acoplar.
We are watching
E aí,
and concurred.
da base, o
90
ser humano ia
seconds.
para a Lua. No caso, né, o Space...
Pilot Victor Glover
qual era o nome?
confirming that maneuver less than 2 minutes.
O
Again, the point of that maneuver is to point the main
era
engine of the
SpaceX, que é
ICPS,
esse
the
carinha
RL-10
aqui.
engine, in the proper orientation to execute that 26-second burn. It needs to point in
Mas
the
aí a
correct
NASA
position
cortou
to
a
achieve
Gateway,
the goal of
então
raising
não
the
vai ter
perigee to
mais
100
por
nautical
conta dos
miles.
custos. E aí resumiram, decidiram focar apenas no
You heard
pouso
some
lunar
of the
mesmo, com a
environmental control
base.
system activations over Orion to Earth. Jeremy Hansen activated the O2 sensors. They'll be measuring the cabin of Orion.
Qualquer projeto atualmente, né,
With all, during all of the
envolve o espaço é
activations
muito
here on the
caro.
ground
Então,
in Mission
ainda
Control
mais
Houston,
a
Flight
Gateway, que
Director
era uma
Judd
estrutura
Freeling is doing a
muito,
poll with all flight
batia, assim, da
controllers in the
casa dos
room
bilhões
to
de
see if we are in a
dólares.
go position to go
Então,
ahead and execute the perigee
resolveram
raise maneuver.
entre dificuldades de entrega, atraso,
Once concluded,
e tudo
Stan
mais,
Love will report
resolveram
it back
cortar
up to the crew,
e
and we'll
focar
stand by for
direto
that.
no pouso lunar mesmo e a construção da base na Lua, ao invés de criar um intermediário entre a Terra, a Lua e a base. Quer dizer, a Terra
Integrity Houston, MCC polls go for PRM, pending attitude and saws.
Hey, we copy. MCC is go. Maneuver starting.
Minutes of mission elapsed time. The maneuver to the burn attitude has begun. The maneuver also is paired with reorientation of the solar array wings that have been deployed. They will have various positions throughout the duration of the flight. Of course, solar array is meant to maximize the draw of power from the sun. So when deployed, we're in a biased solar array wing configuration that was called solar normal. This allows for the greatest surface area of the solar array wings to be drawing power and powering up those batteries of integrity, of which a cross-tie was enabled between the four batteries, the four battery buses that are inside of Orion. However, for the perigee raise maneuver, the solar array wings will be put into a position to take on the loads imparted by the ICPS main engine when they execute the 26-second burn. You can see in the animation here, the solar array wings are in motion, and the attitude is being reconfigured to point the engine in the correct direction, those solar array wings being pointed forward.
Isso aí, agora eles já entraram nesse ponto do cutoff, que é a parte onde eles desligam os motores, né? Ela já acelerou tudo o que precisava, então eles acabam desligando o motor. Aí agora ela vai continuar navegando ali pela inércia mesmo. Ela está a 14 milhas por hora, né?
You're getting a live look inside the Artemis 2 mission flight control room. The team you see here oversaw the ascent of our four astronauts inside Integrity, launching at 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Now again, this room will be occupied 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with flight controllers shifting on 3 shifts to oversee 24/7 operations of Artemis 2 while in flight. We will cover that live on the NASA YouTube channel, and we'll be covering that around the clock as we begin to wrap up our coverage here on NASA Plus. Before I do want to send it over to our colleagues at the Kennedy Space Center. And to my colleagues, it was a pleasure to join the teams at the Kennedy Space Center and be a part of such a historic launch. Here in Houston, again, we're turning our attention to the mission. And for now, we'll say farewell and thank you to our colleagues there for today's launch coverage. We'll see you again soon for Splashdown. This is Mission Control Houston, sending it back over to Megan and Nicole at the host desk.
Thank you, Gary, and yes, it was such a pleasure to be a part of this historic mission that started right here at Kennedy Space Center. It was such an amazing sight to be a part of. And now, as Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen begin their journey, we here at the Kennedy Space Center are about to wrap our broadcasts. We'll, of course, though, have 24/7 coverage with our colleagues at Johnson Space Center starting as soon as we sign off, so don't worry. You can follow along our 4 astronauts every minute of their nearly 10-day journey to the moon and back. Nicole, I'll definitely be watching it, and I'm sure you will, too.
Yes, of course. You know, they just started, right? The launch was beautiful. This was a historic day. They're on their way back to the moon for the first time in over half a century, but they've got a lot of work ahead of them, and so we're excited to see what they have to do and excited to test out the Orion spacecraft. This is a test flight after all, and we're excited to see what we can learn from this mission.
Very humbling, inspiring. It was really amazing to be a part of this, and I'm so glad that so many people joined along by either watching here in person or watching online. And of course, Nicole, thank you so much for sitting through this, answering questions, adding so much context and information that really brought a lot out of what we saw today.
Oh man, I had a blast. You're a rock star. You're a professional.
Gosh,
this was great.
Oh, you're great.
So this was a wonderful day.
Well, again, thank you so much, and thank you to you for watching at home. You know, tonight we didn't just launch a rocket, we launched the next chapter of human exploration. Our Artemis 2 crew now on their way back to the moon, and we're taking you with us. So thank you again for watching, and go Artemis 2.
Galera, muito obrigado para quem assistiu até aqui. Peço desculpas se falei alguma besteira, posso ter falado isso aí, não sou evitado. Mas é isso, primeira live do Rolê no Espaço, estou muito feliz por esse passo. E vai vir mais, então vou tentar aprender um pouquinho mais aí sobre essa parte essas paradas, procurar a melhor configuração para não deixar a live travando para vocês, estudar um pouco mais sobre
Here they are, NASA's Artemis 2 crew, taking their first steps outside for their historic test flight.
Uma qualidade melhor, tanto de imagem como informação, assim como o Rolê no Espaço, tanto no site.
Amassou São Paulo, não é isso, não é esse o ponto.
Errado aqui, ó, quem é São Paulino. Mas é isso, pessoal. Muito obrigado por ter acompanhado até aqui. Só terminar de falar aqui, ó, tá vendo? É muita coisa. Vou tentar trazer mais qualidade para as lives, assim como é todos os conteúdos do Rolê no Espaço no Rolê underline no underline espaço lá no Instagram, TikTok e YouTube @Rolê no Espaço. Então sempre tem conteúdo com muita qualidade para você e prometo que vou refletir o mesmo aqui nas lives para vocês. Beleza, pessoal? Muito obrigado por participarem da live. Muito obrigado por me acompanharem nesse passo muito importante do canal. E é isso, primeira live da entregue. Agora é só melhorar. Pessoal, muito obrigado. Uma boa semana a todos. Valeu, fui.